What's going on, everybody? We're back, Sophomore T, episode 6. Don't be an NPC when it comes to advising. Here with me today, my main man, Montez. Tell him about yourself.
Oh, thank you. First off, thank you for having me, Amari. I appreciate it. I'm glad that I get to meet you and be a part of your journey. My name is Montez Johnson, Associate Director of Undergraduate Advising here on campus. I help oversee, along with Dr. Elfont, we oversee the 4 schools at CCSU. We have the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences. We have the School of Business. We have the School of Education and Professional Studies. We have the School of Engineering, Technology, Sciences, as well as our 5th school that we oversee, which is not really a school, but it's called Explore Central, and that's for students who are not sure about what majors they want. And so this is going to mark my 31st year in August.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm an alum as well as a professional here at CCSU.
Smooth, yeah. And you might be the flyest dude I've ever had on here. Look, the Roshis, you got the suit on, smooth. So yeah, I'm happy to have you on here. So how did you get to where you're from? Where are you from? How did you find like this is what you wanted to do? Yeah,
well, let me just give you a little bit. I am from Hempstead, Long Island. We like to say Strong Island because that's just old school, right? Old school. I like that. Hempstead, Strong Island. So basically, Long Island is a part of. We like to say that we're not part of the borough, but if you speak to anyone from Manhattan or the Bronx, they will say no. Long Island is not part of boroughs at all, but I actually grew up down the street from Queens, so I'm very close to the boroughs, but I like to say Long Island because it sounds nicer. But I was recruited to play football here. As you can tell, I didn't run track, and I still look like a football player sometimes.
Yeah,
but,
you're a hockey dude, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, man, I wish I can wear skinny jeans sometimes, but that's never gonna happen. But what happened to me was I was recruited to play football here. I came here in 1987, came on a recruit visit in 86, and fell in love with the school. It was one of my visits. From the time that I walked on this campus, I just felt a sense of like belonging.
That's what I've said that so many times. That's exactly how I felt. Absolutely.
Yeah, and usually when you're a person like myself who grew up in projects and fatherless child, latchkey child, single mother, 3 brothers, usually that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a place that you can belong to, but also you can grow. And so when I came here, I immediately started to grow. I started to grow. I used to hate really going home, but they had to make you go home when you lived in the residence halls. You had to go home.
So you lived in the residence hall. Which one did you stay in?
I lived in Vance Hall.
That AC back then or no?
No AC. No AC. But again, I'm from the projects, man. I could have lived under a rock and I was fine. As long as I had the 3 meals, I was good to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Vance Hall was my place, room 109, overlooking the quad. That was my room, and I still laugh about it because my son is actually a student here in Gallaudet, and that's where I met my wife.
Really?
Yeah. So
world.
this is like my home. So I came here, played football 4 years. My wife was a little younger, so I wanted to figure out a way to stay, and I ended up getting my master's degree, and from there I never left.
Yeah, it's crazy how many people we meet here. One of our guests, we had PJ from the Career Center. He had met, I think his parents had met at Elmer's, which is crazy. Yeah. So the sense of belonging here, it's amazing. I love it. I enjoy it here.
Yeah, you get that sense of belonging immediately because it's sort of like a pretty eclectic group of people here. You know, when I came in 87, it was predominantly white. Most of the people of color were from Hartford that commuted, either part of an EOP, Educational Opportunity Program, an athlete, football, basketball. So, you know, again, that was really a group of people too that I was able to see and be with, but you weren't forced to be with people that looked like you, which was also awesome for me. Coming from Long Island, the community I came from, it was predominantly black, black and Latino. So coming here as a young 17-year-old person to a campus that made me feel like I was part of the community, felt good.
Yeah, that's what I love about it here. Like, I grew up in Middletown, and a lot of it's just a lot of Italian people. So at least when I came here and came to school, like, it was nice having people, you know, that look like me, and that was definitely like one of the biggest reasons why I chose Central, besides going to like somewhere in like Mass, that was my other choice at. So yeah, that sense of belonging is definitely like key. Yeah. So this episode we're talking about don't be an NPC to advising. So I mean, we talked about what an NPC is. Do you think you got that? You can grasp what an NPC is?
Yes, big shouts to my son and my wife for teaching me what an MP3 is. Yes, and then NPC, you folks here, you great folks here gave me a true understanding of what it means. So yes, I do see the comparison to what that could be for advising.
Yeah. So we're on the topic of advising. So you were the director of the advising office?
So I started out in advising part of my beginning of my career. Okay. And then I went to actually careers with PJ. So really? PJ and I worked for about 6 years.
Cool dude.
Very great guy, yes, yep. But I ended up coming back home. I like to call it home because academic advising was always my niche. That's what I was made to do as a former athlete, knowing the importance of having advising. Yeah. So I am the associate director. Yeah. And then we have a director, Dr. Elfon, who comes from the School of Business. Yeah. So they like to have people that were deans or people that were associated with, different schools as the director. So I'm the associate director, she's the director.
Gotcha. And so you love what you do.
I love what I do. I always talk to students about the difference between a job and a career. Mm-hmm. And that's why dealing with this sophomore group, that's super important because when they're at that crossroad, not sure about what they want to do as a major that will springboard into a career, not a job, that's what they have to understand. So a job is something my mother did. My mother had a job. When I was 17 years old, I had a car, which wasn't my car, it was her car, but I couldn't wait to get my chance to drive the car. But the part of the deal was you get the car, you have to pick mom up from work. My mother worked the third shift. Third shift is where you get the most money. So that's the 7 till 11, something like that, 7 to 2 in the morning. So I get to drive the car after school, I'm hanging out. But I never knew what my mother did. She always came home, she was upset about bills, she was turn off this, turn off that. So we would always get that, right? So she had a job. She would always say to us, don't work a job like me. Go to school, get a good education. Absolutely. So just fast forwarding, I went to pick my mom up one night and she didn't come out yet. So I had to go get her. I went through first door, I said, is Mrs. Johnson here? They said, no, she's in the back. So my mother used to wear a hairnet and a white coat. So now as an advisor, I would have thought of, my mother's like a doctor or something. My mother's like some kind of med technician. No. So I go in there, second door, nope, she's not here. Third door, nope, she's not here. Fourth door, nope, she's not here. Fifth door, big green door, I still can see it in my subconscious. Big green door, they said, Mrs. Johnson's back there. I open up the door and my mother, now she's not a big woman like me. Okay, my mother just happened to have big children, I guess. My mother's lifting up 45-pound boxes of perfume. She worked at a company called Helena Rubinstein in Syosset, Long Island. 45-pound boxes with other grown men that were my size. She did that for 26 years. So that's a job. That's a job. I have a career. Absolutely. When I wake up in the morning after my sons drive me nuts or life is crazy, I get to come here and I get to speak to you today during spring break. Absolutely. And I was excited. And I get to meet you and see you face to face and look you in your eyes and know that I'm connected. That's why I'm here. Absolutely. That's my calling. It's a career. That's what that means. So yes, this is my career. I love it.
I love that story. Part of the reason why I even do what I do, even like wake up, is things like that. My parents, they were teen parents, so they had jobs. They had to get it up and go and get it to provide for me. And like every day, just thinking about that, like I want to buy my mom a house one day. I want to make sure my mom is taken care of, both my parents, and I love that. That's that kind of drive.
And you will, Absolutely. Because people who go to college make $1 million more of a lifetime than someone who doesn't have a college degree, and it doesn't become a job. You're here for a purpose. You want to do computer science, you want to do cybersecurity, whatever it is. That's something you love to do. Absolutely. Where our parents didn't have a choice. They had to feed us. So that's why I know there's a difference between a job and a career, and I love to talk to students about that, especially when students come into my office as an academic advisor and tell me, I need to drop out of school because I just can't make it. And it's usually the sophomore year. We call it the sophomore slump.
Gotcha.
So that's why when Kate asked me to be a part of this initiative, I knew exactly how I would be able to help assist in that.
How do you really navigate that when people, when sophomores specifically, they just feel lost? How do you be like, hey, give them the resources to go and leave, or do you kind of try to keep them here?
Before I even start giving them resources, I have to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
That's my luck. That's what I'm lucky to do, right? I look you in your eyes. I may even know you non-verbally, but you may not know me.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
We discussed that earlier, right?
He knows.
So
He knows.
You know, sometimes I tell students immediately, I'm not a psychic.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 30 years, and you're not the first person that walked in my office at 8 a.m. with that same look that you're thinking you want to drop out of college.
Yeah.
So usually I try to break down that barrier, that stereotype that they may have of what an advisor or a professor is.
Yeah.
And the first thing is to gain your trust. If I gain your trust, you'll then be vulnerable. Gotcha. Vulnerable enough to speak to me. And remember, I have to do that within an hour. So that starts when you walk in my office, the ambiance of my, Kay came in my office and said, wow, your office is nice. I got the lights dimmed down. Yeah. It's a nice environment. That's where it all starts, right?
Absolutely.
I learned all that in graduate school, right?
Absolutely.
The dynamics. So usually that's where it starts, because if you're not right in here, and you're not right in here, I could talk to you all day about the academics. It doesn't mean anything. So beliefs, values, and interests, let's start there. What did you think you want to do with your life? What kind of career do you want? Yeah. And that's how the conversation starts, to me, hopefully keeping you from dropping out of college.
So what advice would you give for students who like feel that way, to come to you first or to maybe thug it out? I know.
Never thug it out. You have an advisor. Every student has an advisor, no matter what your major is, or even if you're undeclared. Start there. Then you go in, and if you're taking the appropriate classes towards your interest of the major you want, you have a better shot. Never thug it out. And that's another reason why a lot of students leave, because they are in debt. And they don't realize that, you needed to fill out your financial aid every year. Or your FAFSA and that kind of stuff. That's the kind of resource, those are the resources I try to get to students so that they can feel comfortable. Remember, you're not investing in a t-shirt that has someone's logo on it for $20, and then when you pay it off with that credit card, it ends up being $300. You're in college. It's an investment towards your career. Absolutely. And you don't have to pay that back until you graduate. It's a pretty good investment.
Yeah, so I like to ask a lot of the people that come on here, a big topic that we have is the importance of college. Like, even now, today's day, you know, it's kind of shunned upon or looked down upon. They think there's better options out there than going to college, which maybe in some degree, maybe sometimes, but what do you think a degree is worth, you know? How?
Well, if you really ask me, it's not even about the degree. It's about the experience.
I was gonna say that.
Come on, my mother didn't graduate from high school.
Yeah.
And you know, my plurals and my singulars were pretty messed up coming here. Yeah. They is, they be, and I was actually speaking like that. And I think about that now, and I think, man, I must have horrified people, because I was already a big dude. And things are coming then. And so I meet my wife, and you know, my wife is helping me out, my coaches and all these people. And then I'm in an environment. So I'm a big person on nurture over nature, right? Yeah. You're born with innate things, but when you're in an environment, it does help you. Yeah. So my friends were enunciating, my friends were articulate, my classmates, my teammates. And I did see people who were like me, that spoke like me, but it was very few. Yeah. So when I went home, that's why I didn't even like going home much, because when I came back, I would be speaking like my friends at home. Yeah. And then the way you speak is the way you write. So that is an important experience that I had, dealing with people that didn't look like me. Yeah. Making sure that I spoke like this instead of like this. Yeah. Because in New York, come on, man, you got to read. Yeah. But in Connecticut, in Central, it was like, oh, you see how much more inviting it is as a big guy? Yeah, so absolutely. I learned all of that, all my social cues, all that stuff, you know, my code switching, as we call it. I learned all of that in college.
And that's a skill.
That's a super skill, but I come from a family of hustlers. Yeah. You know, both my brothers were incarcerated for drug dealing, but they had charisma. Yeah, they had all that stuff that I learned. So when I got to college, I just did it on the right side, and I was lucky enough to take that to where I'm at today with my career.
So you think it's like important to like branch out? Like, I know I do enjoy hanging out with people that, you know, that that look like me, but I think it's super important to kind of make connections with other people as well. I mean, I guess you say
well, it's all about being comfortable.
Yeah,
you know, it does depend on your social reality, your self-concept, how you see yourself and how you present yourself to the world. So I come from a proud family. I didn't have a lot, but we're very proud, and we learned how to always navigate the system, right? So my sons, they don't have that same thing. Yeah. So my son comes from an all-white community. He comes to Central. The only people that he hung out with are black kids, which was awesome, because those weren't black kids from my hood. These were articulate black kids from Ellington and Southington. So just because they looked a certain way, he was still learning, like, wow, I got the best of both worlds. And I never call it selling out. That's another thing. People come from different communities. Don't sell yourself out. It's not selling out, it's called survival. Yeah. So when you can be a chameleon, when you can code switch, that's the way you're going to be. Because when you're in an interview,
you can't talk the same way that you...
When you're in an interview, you have to fill out the room.
Absolutely.
And it's not selling out. You know why? Because in the end, when you have a house, when you have a family, when you're happy with your career, then you can call your friends up in New York and you can talk as much New York as you want. And that's New York with a W, not an R. Yeah. I'm a New Yorker with a W.
Gotcha. Yeah. The beauty of code switching is I'm a people person, and I like when people feel comfortable around me. I feel like I'm a nice and welcoming dude. So just off of that, like, you know, I've made so many new friends and things such just because of people just feel comfortable around me, and I love that, absolutely. And just bring it back to advising. I like that we're jumping around, but you know, it's all quality content. I don't think we like pinpointed, what does your office do exactly? Like, I have an advisor, cool. Is there any other situation why I would need to go to your office directly?
Yes, so academic advisors are supporters of the deans in the different schools. Yeah. So these professional advisors, they're there to help the students figure out what classes they should take for their major and how to apply those classes towards their major so that they graduate on time. That's the main focus of why you go to see an advisor. But then in between that, you are trying to make that connection so that when you start to hit those roadblocks, the advisor can tell you about the resources to help you with math, to help you with, you know, any study skills needed.
What's going on, y'all? We're back, Sophomore T. As you see last time, there was a little intermission, but it's all good, you know, the show must go on. So cool, just so you guys know, it's like a week later, so like a lot of things have happened, you know, so a lot more stuff to come. So
we had a wardrobe change.
Yeah, and a small wardrobe change. And I kept the hat. I like the hat.
I love the hat.
I think I'm gonna make the hat a thing. Like, I was thinking about like changing it every time, but I'm really feeling this hat.
That hat really brings out.
Yeah, it's smooth. So I like, and it's comfy. It's new. But I had to, once I like put the hat on, I gotta like commit to it, because like I got like fluffy hair. But cool, yeah. Back to what we were talking about before. Over the week, I really sat on it, and as you say now, I don't know how it was. You know, you're a lot older than me, so how would you compare like the position that you were in back then compared to now? I know, you know, there's so many different ways I can go now. Was it kind of just, I know you did football, was it I just had to do football, or would you say you had different options?
Well, just going back to what you said about the thugging it out, I love that thought and how you guys are bringing that up. You don't have to thug it out. And you're right, even when I was your age, I thought, hey, I'm here for a purpose, play football, get my education. Yeah. No matter what comes my way, I was prepared for it, good or bad, tough or not. But then I didn't realize that until now, as a professional, that you don't have to thug it out. That's what resources are here for. Yeah. That word resource is really strong, and we mean it when we say resources. It could be anything from counseling. I just had a great conversation just on my way into work with a colleague who actually was a peer of mine back in college, and he actually works for our counseling services. And he wants to come in my office and teach students about breathing techniques that will help them right before midterms and finals. So that's a resource. Counseling, talking to students about bursars, talking to students about financial literacy. All of that comes in my area of advising. So thugging it out, because you're having a tough time in math, you shouldn't have to thug it out. We have resources for that, the Learning Center. But again, you won't know about your resources until you actually get to speak with your administrative helper. And that's your academic advisor, or whomever it is that you have as your mentor. So you shouldn't have to thug it out. No student should. They should be able to use any of the resources so that their success is coming behind them to graduate.
Yeah, and sometimes I just feel like I just need a breather, you know, like a lot of times, like, I'm a first generation student, so like a lot of the struggles I'm going through right now, I can't really like talk to my parents about, you know, because they don't really, I mean, they can kind of get the bigger picture, but you know, there's a lot of things that go into it, you know, not just school classes, you know, friendships, future, like things such as that. And over the week, I felt that way, like I kind of felt lost, like the near future for me, it's like super foggy, and that's not really how I am, you know, when I wake up in the morning, like I feel like I gotta know what I'm gonna do today. And sometimes it's like overwhelming as such, but definitely taking a breather is definitely
taking a breather is excellent, but a lot of it again goes back to having conversations. Even as an adjunct professor in communication, I was just telling you, one of the biggest things I try to teach my students is to speak to people. The first part is just the mechanics of hello. How are you doing? Do you see my mouth moving? It's very difficult for students now with technology and texting, and also losing that art form of actual verbal communication, which is only 7% of our communication. 93% is nonverbal, and I was talking to you about that. So a lot of the times, students using the resource, coming into people like myself, who is also first generation, you may not even know that until you have that conversation. And then I tell you, these are the steps you need to take to be successful, and that is all coming with the fact that we are having this sophomore retention, this thrive on getting freshmen even to start asking questions, because you'll never know how much I can help you until you walk in my office and we have a conversation. And that's where it all starts. I'm telling you, students who are not as successful, they don't get connected. They just come here, pay their bill, go to class, and then when they run into a wall or they start having trouble, they don't know that they actually have people like myself who can assist them.
Yeah, no, and even just like the short amount of time that I've done this podcast, like I've met so many dope people just like yourself, you, PJ, Dr. Paul, like just talking to you guys, you know, not even just gave me like connections, but it gave me confidence to go and talk to people. Like before, like right now I'm in an internship process, so I kind of was just like sending my resumes here and there, and like, you know, it's kind of iffy. It's not really too many people get back to you. And now I'm just like, nah, screw this. Like what I was doing was like, I was going on my LinkedIn, I was looking up CCSU alums, checking out where they worked or interns at, and I was calling them up. Like it's important to go out there and start talking and get connected. So that's super important. So
yeah, but remember too, you're very blessed. You're one of the few students on campus who is proactive. You know, one of the biggest things is we don't worry about you. We worry about the students who are not as proactive, the students who actually come here that might even be from the in-state, they work. I can ask a group of students, 25 students in a classroom or 100 students, I say, how many of you work? This is at CCSU. 99% of them will raise their hand, which means that they're not always taking advantage of the resources on campus. They don't get connected with clubs and organizations. They don't go see their advisor until it's time to get their PIN number. So when you meet people like myself and PJ and other folks around campus, I am also a mentor to them, to the younger generation of administrators. I say to them, you have to see students. You see them, you say hello. Hey, how you doing? We had a conversation about that. You're so busy and focused, I have to make sure that when I see you, that I catch your eye. And that I say, hey, how are you? Sometimes, hey, how are you means it's an open-ended question where we can have a conversation about, yes, Mr. Johnson, Professor Johnson, I do this, I do that. Oh, wow, that's great. You should do this and you should do that. This will help you with your academic success. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
The conversation.
Yeah, and back to advising, I actually just got my early registration pin.
Oh man, that's excellent.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get onto it. I know like right now, especially with my grade, when I was younger, I just kind of let my advisor do all the stuff before, but like, the thing that people are saying now, it's kind of, they don't really see the worth of even going to advising. I know me personally, like a lot of people just kind of just stare at their degree evaluation and kind of poke it out and do it themselves, which sometimes can work, but I see advising as a way as to give me like a, not tell me where to go, but give me guidance. Would you say like it's important, or what is the importance of going to the advisor compared to just trying to just figure it out yourself?
Because, well, one thing we do want you to do is be proactive, right? To learn your curriculum, to know your curriculum. Because like we were even saying, the group in here, everyone said, you know, I was a credit short. I was 3 credits short. Yeah. And a lot of that is because they didn't go to their advisor and they just tried to do it on their own. Yeah. Or they went to their advisor and may have gotten some information that they heard wrong and it just didn't happen. The worst thing is to do that. Yeah. So what students need to do is at the beginning of school, we have orientation for a reason. Yeah. The group that I oversee the 4 schools and Explore Central. All of the professional advisors out of those 4 schools are trained to teach students how to do their degree evaluation, to understand their curriculum that they're choosing as their major. Mm-hmm. So these students are getting the information, but it's so much information at one time during orientation. So the biggest thing is we try to get them back in to reiterate the fact that you need to know your curriculum so that you don't point the finger in the end and say, I took the wrong classes because of you. You see my hand? Yeah. When you point the finger, what happens? You have 3 fingers pointing back at you. Saying, what did you, hey man, that's why I'm older than you. You said it, I'm older, right? So, you know, I tell students all the time, well, you know, students mess with me. I point like this, you know, I get it. But really the big thing is you got 3 fingers pointing back at you. You're here for a reason, to get your college degree. So it's on us to give you the onus and the accountability. That first time I meet you, I train the advisors to say, I'm here, I want to help you. Whatever you need, you got to let me know. All of this information I'm telling you, it might be really confusing to you, but the bottom line is that you don't take the wrong classes. Because students who tend to do that, they get disconnected and they feel like, wow, I just took a bunch of stuff I don't need. Yeah. And then they don't have that conversation about career stuff. Mm-hmm. Why are you in this major? What's your value? What's your interest? What's your belief? Why do you want to do this major? Is this a passion? Yeah. So that you're not just doing a job, you're doing a career.
Cool, yeah. So actually, you know, now that we're coming to the end, this is my favorite part of the show. I'd like to just bring a game on here just so I can get you stimulated, and I kind of just ask you like rapid questions, you know, questions that, you know, others might want to have answers to, things and such. I'm sure you're familiar with Jenga. You might not be. Are you cool with Jenga?
I'm cool with it, but I have big fingers. Yeah. So I always knock it down.
I feel you. I have like longer ones, so like, yeah, it gets a little tricky at the end. All right, and we're on like this little table here, so
that's
like,
okay.
So try not to like wobble it, but I might
just slap it, man. I'm one of those like spontaneous guys. Just slap it away. No, I'm joking.
Cool. You want to start? I mean, you're the guest.
No, you're gonna start because the first time I touch it, it's falling.
Okay, well I'll start then. Cool. So like, if you could go back to say your freshman or sophomore year of high school, of college, what would you say to yourself?
I would say, never give up, which I did do that. Never give up. Mm-hmm. Do your best.
How do you feel like you
gave up?
Can I
just grab it right here like
No,
that?
You can't do that.
Come on, man.
Wait, I forgot. I have to like stack this back on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
I would say never give up. I would say take advantage of your resources. Mm. You know, you're an athlete. Yeah. But, you know, as an athlete, you have these resources that are there for you that no one else has. Mm-hmm. But you should get acclimated to the rest of the campus. Yeah. Because you're not going to be an athlete all your life. Yeah. You know, that's kind of one of the things I would say to my young self, Montez Johnson.
Mm-hmm. How would you feel that you gave up? Like you just kind of stopped trying?
The way that I would say I gave up is if I went back home on a break or I went back home during Christmas or whatever it may be, and I decided I didn't want to come back because I wasn't ready. Yeah. I wasn't ready. And thank goodness that I had a support system of coaches and teammates and even classmates that made me feel like I did belong here. Mm-hmm. That CCSU is a place that will help me get to my success. Oh, did I lose?
We just started.
That will help me get will help me get to my succse.
Yeah. I definitely stress how important it is to have, you know, people that help.
Let me get in my stance here so I can.
The importance of having people like around you that, you know, keep you accountable. That, you know, especially me, it's my dad in my life. You know, even when I feel like I'm failing, like you gotta have those people that hold you accountable, and that definitely enhances it a lot. Absolutely. Yeah. Some of these pieces are getting real wonky in this middle. I'm not even trying to grab from anywhere, any of there.
Okay, let me try to grab this. Yeah, you got to really try your best to surround yourself with people that are like thinking.
Yeah.
You know, I was just telling my class the other day, everyone in the class is here for a reason, and there's one reason, that's to get your college degree. So though it's a communication course, some people are taking it as an elective, some people are taking it for their major.
Yeah.
You're all here for a reason. You're all here to support each other. So coming to class is one thing, making people feel good, so when they're vulnerable, that you know, they're able to really feel that the people that they're vulnerable with will help them get a good grade in this class, and that it's not just about coming here and getting a grade, that you're actually learning from each other. You're communicating with those that you probably would not communicate on a daily basis.
Okay, cool. What's one of the best lessons that you feel like you've been taught in your life? Either from a mentor, a friend, anybody?
The best lesson always came from the person who taught you your social reality, your self-perception, your concept, the way you see the world. And that's from my mom. Like I may have mentioned in the past, which I use all the time, my mother is the reason that I am who I am.
Yeah.
She worked 3 jobs, raised 3 incredibly, you know, I can say, I don't even want to say, but my mom, she raised she raised 3 boys in those projects of New York City.
Yeah.
And she worked 3 jobs to make ends meet. And let me tell you, watching her work a job to help us eat and have the basic necessities in life made me want to be successful. You know, as a parent now, myself with 3 young boys, which is odd, is pretty interesting, I want them to be better than me.
Yeah.
And the beauty of my work is that I have children. That's what took me so long to have children, because working in higher ed, you tend to do things with these kids and you start to become their parent, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Transference occurs all the time. But you got to be willing to, you know, take that challenge on. And then I almost forgot to have kids because, hey man, this is not fair. You got me in the
What do you mean it's not fair? It's Jenga. We have the same amount of turns.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think and talk at the same time.
See, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. Don't start shaking the table now.
All right.
Because then it's going to fall.
But what I was saying is, you know, as a young professional, I really thought like, oh, let me just keep going. And I forgot to have kids myself. So now I have kids. I understand like why I do what I do.
Yeah.
Because, man. Because I'm here to.
You're playing with fire, man.
Shucks, come on now. All right. You want rock, paper, scissors?
Nah.
Come on, man. You know how to do the choose?
Listen.
Oh,
this is your turn.
Like
I had the same amount of turns as you.
Can I do like this? No.
No. You gotta get this last
but
one.
honestly, that's what it's about. Giving back to the community, the campus community that raised me at 17 years old.
Yeah.
I'm a lifer. That's why I've been here for 31 years. So I've been here as a student and now as a professional. And to give back to the place that gave me what I had is incredible. Okay, I'm going to just
one more before you put that last one, because this one might fall. A big question.
It's falling. You played this before.
I played
You set me up.
I played Jenga. Also, you had the table, so yeah. A big question that I've been asked, you know, the sophomore retention, that's like one of the bigger reasons why we started this podcast. A lot of people just feel lost. What would you say for people, or have you ever felt lost, and what did you do to kind of climb out of that? Even sometimes I feel lost.
Well, you're supposed to feel lost in college. You know why? Because you're not in your community. You're not in your safe haven. You're in a place with it's like a big all-star team, if you understand sports. But the biggest reason you're here is to make your life better. So we all run into roadblocks. The biggest thing we want to teach you is that when you run into roadblocks, it's not the end of the world. You have to stop. You have to think. One of the main focuses on careers, and PJ may have mentioned it, employers want someone that can be a good critical thinker, a problem solver, and a decision maker. Those three cliche words, or phrases are super important. So we all run into roadblocks. How do you get out of it? That's what we need to teach you. That's why students who tend to be successful are not always the kid who is number 1 in his or her class in high school. Just because they have the academics doesn't mean they get here and socially be able to evolve and be smart and strong and make it through. The ones who make it through college are usually the strong. I've seen so many students with the highest GPAs, the best SATs, that fail out after their first semester.
Yeah.
So those who come in with a little grit, that have been through something in their lives, they usually do well because they have a reason. They need to get out of what they had. So those students who come here who have everything they need, the goal as your advisor, as your professor, is to teach you that yes, life throws you curveballs.
Yeah.
But you're here for one thing, and that's to get your degree.
Yeah.
And you have tons of other people, from residence halls to classmates to clubs and organizations, that can think just like you, that can help you through those paths. But we got to find them.
Yeah.
Because your generation doesn't talk to us. So we have to do our job every day, which I do. That's why when you see me from now on, you know you're going to have to look at me. You know you're going to have to say hello. Because I might just say, hey, how are you doing today? And then you're just vulnerable enough to be like, Montez, listen to me. And I'm there. That's what I'm here for. So we'll find them. And the sophomores, that slump is usually there. That freshman year, we can keep you here. You get to come here your first semester, you get to go on probation. Below a 2.0. We let you back in. And then you have that second semester and you do well enough. We may even let you come back your sophomore year because we see you're trying to make a step up, even if you're going through stuff. The goal is to keep you here past that sophomore year. Because most students who get past their sophomore year, they graduate. So that's what this whole program is about. And I believe in it.
I was watching some podcasts earlier about it, and they were saying a lot of times when people come to college, this is like their first time in life where they're not, what she said, not going by someone's playbook, you know, and like, once I got here, like, I'm free to do whatever I want, you know, like, there is nobody gonna track me down when I don't go to my class. And it sometimes it can be scary, you know, some people take that and kind of shrivel up, but you can also take that and thrive from that, you know, you can build your own schedule, you know, you're not sitting at a desk for 7 hours a day, like, prioritize your time, you know, make use of it, you know, so it definitely could be a beautiful thing. I'm glad I finally was able to, like, realize that before I'm out of here. Absolutely.
But that's innate. Again, I'm a strong believer that, you know, the reality of your surroundings is great, but you also have an innate drive. You know, and everyone's not blessed to have that. But again, that's where we come in as the professionals who have been doing this a long time. And I try to teach all of my younger professionals that I'm mentoring that students come in, don't just give them a PIN number. The PIN number is to get you in so you don't miss out on registration, but really that PIN number has always been our ticket to have that conversation with you. I had a student come in probably 1993. I was new, and I'm thinking I'm gonna do some advising. I had all my sheets ready, my skilled areas and study areas ready. Student came in, I'm dropping out of school. I live on campus. My roommate is eating my French fries and wearing my Michael Jordans.
And it's crazy, like, I've heard a lot worse than that.
Stay with me, right? As an RA, right? So me, as a young professional, I said, sit down. What's your problem? You don't want to share your food? Where that student came from, you never put your hands in their plate and grab their French fries.
Your turn?
I'm telling you, I'm just saying, I'm putting it back. I'm just putting my hands, metaphor. I went to get the French fry. And the student was from a culture where you don't put your hands in my plate. You're not my family. He was ready to drop out of school because he couldn't have a conversation with his roommate who came from a culture where everybody just eats, hey, you got some fries? Let me get some. You got a piece of pizza? Let me get a piece. And he was ready. And then his Michael Jordans, he was a sneaker kid. He came to college thinking, no one's gonna wear my Michael Jordans. He took his Michael Jordans off. His roommate felt, hey, they're there. I'm gonna put them on. He's my roommate. And he's out in the quad playing full basketball games.
And his J's?
Brand new J's.
Dang.
Now again, I'm old, but I know about sneakers. Right? I had to sit down with him. I said, well, you need to tell your roommate. That's what college is about. You're communicating with people, you're learning. Because where he's from, what did he normally do? He just put him in a headlock and get kicked out of college.
I bet,
So those are conversations. Sometimes you're thinking as an advisor, you're coming to get a PIN number and then something else opens up. But that's why you're in student development, higher education, because you want to help people develop. is more than just the X's and the O's.
Yeah.
I told you at the beginning of this podcast, it's not about anything other than if you're not writing here and you're not writing here, I can't do my job anyway. I can tell you all day about classes.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's still your turn, man. Don't start ducking it. Okay. I'm still gonna ask you questions, but I had a feeling I really want to touch on that. Cool.
I'm just gonna go ahead and try to not knock it down, but it's going down.
Yeah, man.
Dang.
You had hit this table. I thought it was going. Oh, you're playing with fire, man. Oh.
I see that thing. I got.
Dang. Yeah, I felt it. That's why I got that question out. We're at the end of our show, man. Tell the people, what you are, where your office is, and leave remarks, man. Tell them what you're about.
Okay. Well, first off, I'd like to thank everyone for allowing me to come here and take up the time. I'm going to look into the middle so I can catch a camera somewhere. I work in undergraduate advising services. Myself and Dr. Elfont. I am the associate director of university. So when you email me or call me, I work for the undergraduate advising services. I'm here for you. Without you, there's no me. I have a creed written right on my wall. Without you, there's no me. So when you come in my office, it's never a bother. You're never interrupting me. When I'm in the middle of any project, if you come to my office and you need something, my office, I will stop and I will speak to you, because sometimes it's just that conversation. Your success is my success. And I've been doing this for 31 years and I'm proud of being part of that. So come in, get your advising. Make sure you sign up with your advisor as early as you can so you can get in there early enough to be able to set up your schedule so that you can get the classes you want. Because usually after your first year, you know your time, the way you use your time. Time management is one of the biggest reasons students tend to drop out. Procrastination, those kind of things. So we want to break all those barriers down, make sure you have a great schedule so that you are successful. Make sure you have a major that will get you a career, not a job. And that's what I do. So I'm speaking on behalf of all my professional advisors. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of all of my CCSU students. And that's what I'm here for. Yeah. I'm here to help you become successful, because your success helps CCSU's success. Thank you.
Absolutely, and that's it for this week. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all who are reposting, checking us out, tuning in every single week. It really means a lot. We're here to help you all. We're all in this together. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, hold on, time out, man. Get up, stand up, man.
All right.
I want to make sure. I know my wires are hanging.
Oh man.
But I just want to show CCSU why it's important to me. Come on, man.
Yeah, bring it in.
Hold it for a couple seconds.
I'm tucking it. Tuck it.
All right.
All right, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Great job.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Catch ya.